I had such dreams at the end of 2022. Let's see how my goals are going for this year. Hello everyone, welcome back to A Fictional Escapist. My name is Kris, and today's video is the mid-year goals check-in, where we have a look at all those goals I set for my 2023 and see what has been achieved thus far, and also what I think I will achieve by the end of the year. Before we jump into that, make sure you check in the description box down below for links to my social media and Discord, should you want to come along for the ride. This video will be split into two sections. One is going to be book related, so all those books I wanted to either have as series continuations, start a new series, or just a miscellaneous book here and there that I aimed to read in 2023, and the second part will be the actual channel goals that I set out for myself for this year, and we'll just see where we've landed. So we're going to crack on and start with the books. So for my books and my goals of 2023, I wanted to continue on with 5 series. Of those 5, I've actually continued on with 2, and I'm not sure where the others are going to land. The first one that I wanted to continue is The World of Lunaria with Issa or Isa by L.L. McRae, book 4 in that series, and the last one that is currently out. I want to read it. I also don't want it to end and then have to wait for the next one, so I'm on the fence. I continue to put this on the maybe piles and the TBR/MBR, whatever you want to call it, and I have not got around to it yet. The next one was the Star Children Saga, continuing on with Light Fighters, which I have behind me, by Palmer Pickering. This is one that I also have not read yet. I had it on the February TBR, I think, and then I didn't get around to it, and I haven't put it on since. I have read something from Palmer Pickering this year, though, which I'm really excited about, but I did it as an alpha read, so I can't talk about it too much just yet. I love how much the author has grown in her craft, so I'm really looking forward to that going out into the world. But I do plan to continue on with the Star Children Saga, but knowing book 3 is probably coming out towards the end of next year, I'm just not sure where that fits on my plan as of yet. I have planned out the rest of the year and starting into next year, and it's currently not on the definite reads for those time frames. The next one I said I was going to continue, or hope to continue, which I have not and is still a maybe, but it's not written down anywhere, is The Legend of Drizzt. This is by R.A. Salvatore in the Forgotten Realms world. So I bought 4 books here, fully anticipating that I would read all 4 because they're nice short reads just to fit them in as palate cleansers, and I so far have not done that. Actually, there's 6 series on this list, which I've read 2 of. So the one that I have actually read, and I've unhauled the 2 books that I've read this year, is Wayfarers by Becky Chambers. I read A Closed and Common Orbit and Record of a Spaceborne Few. I love book 1, which was A Long Way to a Small Angry Planet. I thought the thematics were brilliant. I liked book 2, which was A Closed and Common Orbit, which dealt with the thematic of humanity and anxiety and what it means to be human and all the things that come with that. And then I didn't really vibe with book 3. I thought it was fine, but I thought the thematics were a bit wishy-washy. There wasn't a lot to really grasp and delve deep into, and also there were way more characters in the third one that I didn't really feel connected to anyone. So I do have the 4th one. I figure at this point I've read 3, I should probably just read the 4th one, but I don't know. I don't have plans for that at the moment. The audio narrator is excellent, so I will likely go the audio route for that if I do pick it up. The next one is the Primateri series by S.A. Tholen. The book 1, Iron Truth, won the SPSFC competition round 1. I thought it was brilliant. I had a great time with it, but it is very heavy. One of those books where I had to read it and then be like, I need a break from sci-fi, even though I've just read 1 book in this particular genre. So I do plan on going back to that one. I think it's one that I'm going to need to do physically rather than on audio or on ebook to really grasp the concept. So that will likely wait until next year when I have bookshelves again and I can just order physical books at a whim. And the last one on the list is The Song of Kamaria by T.A. Bruno. This is a trilogy, and I have listened to book 2 this year, which was On the Winds of Caesars. I believe a review will be coming out for that one shortly. If not, it's already out. And I do plan to read At the Threshold of the Universe, which is the final installment for that one before the end of the year. Jumping into series that I was going to start this year, I had anticipated starting this year. The first two I have not, and that is the Ironclad series by Mike Schell and the Onyxborn Chronicles by D.W. Ross. So one is a D&D inspired fantasy sort of lit RPG taking from those sort of tones. I don't believe it's a literary RPG, I think it's an epic fantasy, but I definitely think it's got those sort of vibes coming to it. And the Onyxborn Chronicles, I believe, was Norse inspired fantasy. I've not picked up either of those. I did pick up Fallen Light series by H.C. Newell. I've read the first two books, so I've read Curse of the Fallen and The Forbidden Realms. I've read those this year, really enjoyed them. Very fast-paced fantasy, very action-packed, and I've heard it compared to The Witcher. I've not read anything bar the first short story collection of The Witcher, so I don't know if it's part of the main story, but people seem to compare it to that an awful lot. The next one I did actually have on the TBR for 2023, and that is the Elemental Chronicles by Ross Kingston. I've since taken it off because I purchased this for myself when I got a promotion last year as the full series, or the full book set, and they're in Perth, and now the house in Perth is not going to be done until, they said, hopefully Christmas, to be able to move across the country. So I have taken that off, and that will likely move on to 2024 when we're there and I have them in my possession. Then I had the Empowered Ones by M.S. Olney. This was the First Fear and the Temple of Arrival. I have not read these, and the next two I have actually read. And the next two I have actually started. So A Forging of Age duology by Tatiana Obey. I read Bones to the Wind in June, really liked it. I'm going to be reading Dragon Your Bones, which is the second book in that duology, in July, in this month, in a couple of days. Hopefully I'll get that one started. The next one is The Wounded Kingdom by R.J. Barker, so I wanted to read this one ahead of Tears of the Weirdwood, or whatever the book is called, coming out, to be up to date with R.J. Barker's work, and then having read everything that that author has produced by the end of the year. So I'm doing this one with Esme. We have done the first two, and I'll finish up the third book, King of Assassins, this month. So those two will at least be done this month, and I would have ticked something off the list. Go me. Had a couple of buddy reads that I wanted to do this year, and I have done two of them. So we did Cycle of Fire by Jenny Wirtz, which is up here, and we also did the first trilogy of the Dragonlance Chronicles, so that has been done. Had plans, dreams, hopes, aspirations to read the Cicero trilogy by Robert Harris, and that just hasn't happened. At the time we were going to read it. It was going to be a buddy read with Theo over at Rekindled Reader, and we just didn't get around to it. But now that other people have read it, maybe one day we'll read it in the near future. And I also wanted to jump on the Wheel of Time readathon hosted by Kate over at the Literary Apothecary, and I kept up for the first two, and then I just dropped off the bandwagon and started Malazan instead. So I guess I started it, at least I just didn't continue on with it. A couple of the miscellaneous books that I had on here I have not read. This Way Lies Camelot, that is on a maybe pile for the rest of the year. The Priory of the Orange Tree, again, that's in Perth. I don't really want to buy it again. My father-in-law does have a copy, but it's huge, so we'll see. I don't believe that it's going to be one that happens this year. Look forward to 2024 when this book continues to plague my existence because I haven't read it yet. The next two I do actually have planned to read this year, and that is Swan Song by Robert McCammon and Tigana by Guy Gavriel Kay. Hear a lot about these, and people think that I will enjoy them, so I'm looking to give those a go. I have a month coming up where I need to step back on self-pub because as a personal moral code, I wish to do a video review for every self-pub I read, and I am backed up by like 2 months. So I think it's either October or November where I've pretty much got trad pub reads planned so that I can catch up on reviews and go into the new year able to continue to do that and make sure that I do get those video reviews out for all the self-pub that I read. I have read Peace and Turmoil by Elliot Brooks. This has been on my radar for a year and a half now. I actually really enjoyed it. It surprised me with how much I enjoyed it. A dark political fantasy that's very character driven, and yeah, had a great time with that one. I'm currently reading Bastion by Phil Tucker, which is on this list. I am about 17% of the way through at the time of recording. It's fun. It's a lot of fun, very easy to listen to. The narrator is excellent, and I'm just having a great time with it. And I also read The Iron Crown by L.L. McRae. I didn't have plans to continue on with Dragon Spirits this year. That will be a continuation next year, but I loved The Iron Crown, and I've given it to my father-in-law to actually read himself to see if he also enjoys it, because I think that he will. Those were the book goals. I have no idea if I'm even at a passing rate. I'd say we're probably at 40 to 45%. So maybe by the end of the year, we'll crack 50 and we'll just get that pass to be able to float into 2024. Jumping into the channel goals now. The channel goals that I had for 2023. The first one was pulling back on the set number of reads, I guess, as a goal on Goodreads or whatever program that you use to count your reads. I wanted to set my goal at 60, and I have done that. I believe I'll probably end somewhere around the 70 to 75 mark. But the reason I wanted to pull myself back was to open myself up to alpha reads and to beta reads, to things like sensitivity reads, should I have the opportunity to do so, and also arc reads. So arc reads I can count on there, and I have, that's great, but the other three I don't count towards the Goodreads reading goal, just because they are pre the final product coming out. So if I happen to read them again, then I would count it as a read, but not beforehand. I have been very fortunate to have been a part of a couple of these. So I've done 2 alpha reads this year so far. I'm about to do my 3rd. I really enjoy that process. I've done 2 or 3 beta reads already, and I've got another 2 on the go this month, which is great. Very blessed to be in contact with those authors and to help with that process in whatever way I can. The next one we have is a change of schedule, easy one. I've done that. I now go Monday and Thursday at 12 a.m. Australia, or Australian Eastern Standard Time, which works out a little bit better for folks over the other side of the country. So we have done that. And the amount of content I wanted to pull back on, just because I didn't know what my living situation would be like, and I have done that. So 2 videos generally per week. Occasionally there is an odd 3rd video that will come out, or that will be an author interview or a live of some various form, either on my channel or someone else's. They are very occasional. It's not something that I do all the time, but those 2 videos per week, most weeks, have been working out for me quite a lot better than, I think that will be the way going forward for me. Now the next one, I've given myself a half mark, and that is being less scared of collaborations. So I have done a couple of collaborations this year. I was been on Roger's channel for some things. I've invited people over to my channel. I was on Steve Talks Books when Joao Silva's Seeds of War released, and that has been really good. But I only gave myself a half mark because I have not actively reached out to people to ask if I could be on their channel, because I'm still a big old scaredy cat when it comes to doing that. So I'm hoping to do a couple of more collaborations this year within my control. I'm hoping to have a historical fiction buddy read happening starting in November, and maybe have some discussions with those people on the channel. We'll see how that goes. The next one I had was author interviews, and I have done a couple of author interviews. I'm really happy that that is now a part of the channel. I've got at least two more planned within the year, and we'll see where that goes. I will try and continue to get more and more authors on. I'm hoping maybe I can book in another 2. So I've got Mark Holloway coming up in the beginning of August. I've reached out to Tatiana Obe to come onto the channel at some point because I loved Bones to the Wind so much, and she has a new book coming out called Sister Samurai later in the year. Have a chat about that, and I'm hoping to get another 2 maybe Aussie authors to come on here and have a chat. Original book tags with friends. I've created a couple of original book tags. I've not done them yet. Just time and availability in this space. It's not our own. My parents are normally here when I do videos on the weekend, so it can get a little bit awkward. I haven't done that, but that is still on the cards for some point in the future. And we also had the Kris's Queer Corner quarterly. So I've done the first quarter. Q2 is happening this week, or maybe last week, depending on when this video comes out. So it's a little bit late, but I'm going to count it as Q2. So I'm hoping to have 4 by the end of the year. I love that this is a thing. The people that I have on board, so Jeff, Jess, and Roger, are wonderful to speak to, and I'm hoping that this will eventually grow and we'll get other people to come on and talk about their experiences. Sprints haven't really been a thing, to be completely honest. They're not super comfortable to do with a full household of people all the time, and when I have had time alone to do it, or just with Rachel, I'm very tired, so I haven't really been doing them. I just sort of put them in ad hoc wherever they fit. And also launching and editing a proofreading and marketing business aimed at indie authors. This is a thing that is still happening by the end of the year. It did not launch in February like we wanted it to, but we have done a soft launch. We have the business name, we have a website that is currently being worked on at the moment, we have a handful of select clients that we are currently working with, and it's been a wonderful experience so far. So this idea is a bit bigger than we originally anticipated, but also more exciting for people in the indie community. I would argue, being part of the reason that this is coming to light. So that's just my personal bias on that, but it is coming hopefully by the end of the year. And what I'll do when it launches is do a video here on this channel to introduce it, and then that will be the end of me spruiking the business basically here on this channel, because this is going to be my channel still for reviewing and bookish things, but I will let you know when that happens. Those were the goals that I had for 2023, both reading and also channel goals. What were yours? How are you going with your reading goals for the year? Let me know in the comments down below. If you like the content, give it one of those. If you want to see more of it, click subscribe at your will, and I will catch you in the next video. Ciao.